All right, so here's how you know the ultimate proof of fake gamers, right? When they clearly so this is a free game. This is the most hilarious bit, right? Most of the there are negative reviews on talking points of of politics that have actually played the game, but the vast majority clearly haven't by these things, right? Which just proves that the vast majority of the hate is fake gamers, people who don't actually play games. And then you have this guy who had a negative review a while ago, right? Notice how these people are negatively reviewing based off of say for this guy, right? Negatively reviewing based off of political bullshit rather than actual arguments about the game, right? You refuse to support. You aren't supporting. It's a free game. You are either playing it because you like it or you're not, right? So this is, I know you also didn't play it. So here we go. Ultimately, she can just look at this and see that you're a fucking retard. Let's see the people here. So you have to spend $30 to vote. Well, yeah. Oh, she did post on Twitter too. Maybe she has a double post thing though. That might be part of it. To be fair, yeah. So this is another thing, right? People are dunking on them because they actually this is the thing. Now, the negative reviewers are getting picked on by actual gamers who played the game, and this is where Stuttering Craig fails. On Steam, they're failing, right, to prove their little point that Craig was trying to prove. Because now, even the guy who voted for it is starting to question, wait, you have to spend $30 to vote, right? So, yeah, this is the funniest shit, right? They're dunking on this fucking moron, for proving her point here, right? You got a few people here, right? Right, that are showing them that they're a fake gamer here. And then one person here, right? And then we got another person here criticizing them. Then this person comes back, OP. Yeah. Right. Now, here's the thing. I don't think Craig is bigoted himself. I think he's just a fucking moron. The thing is, this is a communication issue. If anything, you could just DM them and solve it, but he decides not to. He decides to make a public scene of it. The thing is, they probably, because they have Twitter and Blue Sky, they probably did a Blue Sky Twitter double post and didn't realize it, and that's what's happening there. And it was just they were just dunking on it and, having a little laugh. But yeah. And this is another thing. The real Game Awards was such a small event, right? Because, you had to pay $30 to vote. They had less than 1,000 voters. They had less than 1,000 voters, actually, because, legitimately, also, this is kind of funny. Once it's a free, I know who that is. They're they have a lot of they have a lot of this stuff. I'm it's a free. You might be it's a free game. How is it on your wish list if it's a free game? The reason why is because they want to wait to play it for with friends and stuff on streams and stuff. So that's what that is about. It's a free game. So it's weird that you have it wishlisted, but it's hey, I'm gonna play this later, so I'm gonna put it on. I don't know why people do that. That's not what wishlist is for. It's not for I want to play this later. It's for hey, I want that, and I don't have it, right? This is most of the review. Oh, I hate, but that's the thing, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is a thing about updates and stuff, right? These are actual gamers, right? Now you might be like the playtime is low on a lot of people. The game is short, right? Like this is probably like the most people play out of it. Short. It's a very short, like little free demo game thing, right? The entire point of this is just, hey, what if Bloodborne had like a kart racer after it, right? You don't really play this game that much, but you do play it, right? Just for funsies. But like the negative reviews are so obviously a review bomb here because like they're all mentioning the politics rather than things with the game. And then there's a couple issues with the game that people are actually talking about, right? Like the thing, like Supreme Shark has a lot of hours and they're talking about the like that's not a review bomb. This is the thing. I noticed review bombs versus genuine negative reviews, even when they involve politics, because first off, well thought out, actually typed, and it actually criticizes aspects of the game itself that can be there, right? So this is actually like a legitimate review that I don't think is review bombing it, right? They also have like plenty of playtime, so they can kind of go in like an actual statement, right? Right. So we'll do this again, right? But then you have reviews, like this, just a random negative review, right? It's also reviewed before the thing. This was reviewed after it, right? But you'll notice like a lot of these reviews are just dunked on, right? People are clowning on them. And the reason why they're getting a lot of clowning is because, hey, you're just talking about politics here. You're not talking about the game, right? And this is the thing, right? Like they're dunking on them, right? There's people saying, I find it helpful, but when it comes to like the things, right, they're making fun of them, right? These are emojis where they call you a fucking clown, right? And there's another thing, like you look at the comments, a couple people, whatever, right? But like most of the people are disagreeing, and there's a reason for that. Yeah, like imagine making a review about the video game and shutting up. Say, like the truth, what truth? Yeah, like this is the thing. Like they're like this is the funny thing. Oh, people are getting butt hurt because you reviewed the person rather than the game. I notice it's all like actual people who have more hours than you. People are making fun of you for being a loser, right? This is what happens when you're a loser. People make fun of you. Now, if unless you're on Twitter, right? Also, yeah, calling it X is a very like good way to make it funny, right? Twitter is not a good place to get your opinions from anymore. Well, that never was, right? You don't get opinions from Twitter, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is the hilarious bit, right? But you notice, anytime, so like notice how this person used that, but they actually criticized the game. See, there you go, right? You don't get clowned on as much. The reason for it is that, right? Let's look at this, June 7th, right? So notice this June 7th review, they don't get as much hate with it. They actually get like people talking about stuff, right? And the reason for that is that this is an actual criticism, right? This is an actual criticism of the game, right? Which is fair, absolutely fair. And this is really the issue with like people looking up Steam review bombs, like Steam review bombs, is that it's pretty obvious you're not actually talking about the game at that point. And that's the issue with Steam review bombs, is that we can tell when you're not talking about the game or not. The issue with Metacritic review bombs is that like Metacritic doesn't require you to own the game at all, right? So people will just talk about it on politics to say, haha, we got a culture war win, but then like the game succeeds anyway because the people who actually it's for don't give a shit about the culture war at all, right? That's how most people are, right? And like this is all because she made fun of Stuttering Craig, right? And it's not even a good amount, right? Most people who are reviewing it either give it actual criticism, like this one, right? Or they or clowned on by the fans of the game because you can't actually succeed when your review is politically based on Steam, right? Like people will make fun of you if they view your politics as a affront to the review itself, because that's what it is. You are putting politics ahead of a genuine review, right? So like we'll just like sort by newest, right? We'll sort by is there a way to sort these? Okay, it's got to be a way to we'll just do negatively. Right, there we go. Anyway, I want to sort these. I kind of want to sort these by date, but it doesn't appear to be an option. I don't know why. But anyway, like if you look, yeah, don't do average woke. Like they're just making fun of it, really, usually. If like you look at like the things, if people see it, they either like they usually like make fun of it. Apparently, like a lot of these aren't even being seen, which is another thing. Like most people aren't even seeing a lot of these negative reviews because it's pretty obvious that it's a review bomb at this point. They're giving it, laughing at it and stuff. Support ungrateful devs. Okay. All right, this one I already this one I already checked out, right? And like that's the thing. If people are talking about the review, right, they're dunking on them for like being disingenuous and stuff. And it's like most of the negative reviews after a certain time period, people are doing that. The dev doesn't understand. It's not important at all, actually. Believe it or not, it is actually absolutely not important for a serious developer to get an award for anything at all. It's not, right? Which is the most hilarious bit about that. There is no importance to review shows at all, right? Like the only thing Craig revealed really was that no one cares about his fucking show. Like he has to have like an army of fucking bots to get people to pretend to care. And even then it doesn't actually work out in the end. You see people are dunking on them there. Like it's hilarious. Like people are just dunking on this obsessive compulsive behavior. Like here's another new one. Yeah. Like this guy actually had to walk it back by saying it was a troll. And yeah, it is 100% community voted. Like that's not the thing. Like okay, what if but Steam reward like that's the thing, right? A lot of people don't know this, but Steam rewards exist for the game as well. But the thing is, Steam rewards are actually worth something because it says, "Hey, gamers like who play PC voted for this because they wanted to." Like I could vote for games they played, right, on Steam, and I did. Yeah. Like anytime like all these like reviews and people are just fucking dunking on them, right? They're calling them clowns and all that, right? And so like this is the thing, right? We've got most helpful all time, right? Yeah, so like this one talks about like actual things, right? So is this one they get less helpful and like less new when you go to like the political ones, right? So any of the political like notice how like no one's dunking on these reviews because they're actually talking about the game. They're only dunking on the obvious political bullshit reviews too, right? And that's the thing. If you don't like this, okay, perfectly fine. No one cares. People are only caring when it's clearly politically motivated bullshit and rhetoric, which is what Craig might not realize, but that's what the message was. If you only care about a game due to politics or whatever, and that's why you review games, you're a snake, and people won't like you, right? Like if we look at the most helpful reviews, it's all positive right now because the game's pretty good for most people's eyes. There are some technical problems or whatever, and people are fine with you pointing those out. People are not fine if you just clearly just put politics ahead of a legitimate review, right? So like if we go by most helpful, it takes a while to get to a political review, right? It takes a while to get to a political review. It takes a while to get a political review. It takes a while to get a political review. Let's see where Craig comes in. All right. Let's see when. You see, this is the first review. It still reviews the game, and then it reviews the politics. So even with that, talking about allowing politics in a discussion, the majority of it is just, dude, like shut the fuck up, right? And the reason for that is because of how the dev works, right? See, Twitter, Craig doesn't realize this. Twitter isn't a real place. Twitter doesn't rely on unity, right? And value. It's a very bad site, and people recognize that on the left way before Elon took over. It's not like people were looking for alternatives way before Elon took over, right? And the reason for that, and that's why like Mastodon and Blue Sky even exist. Like hell, Truth exists because it was a alternative to Twitter, right? Truth Social, a conservative alternative, right? People on the left and right have been working on and making Twitter alternatives for a while, right? But like even when we talk about politics, most people, if they're talking about politics, still like the game. And it's really like very obscure. Like we're going to go we've already gone through 20 pages of review, right? To get to anything. And we're still going. Right? Just to show how little of this bullshit is important with Craig, right? Because we're talking about a negative political review, right? A person whose opinion of the game was negatively impacted by the politics of the developer. It takes a while, right? Because those are before that, and they're talking about the game. So we're talking about, does the politics negatively impact the game? We're looking for a negative review on politics in the order, right? So we've already shown that there were, and they were being dunked on if they were being talked about at all, or even seen. But then we're looking at it, right? And we're seeing how pathetic this review bomb is, because look how long it takes to get to it, right? It's taking a while, right? We're 50 pages down now at this point. And it's still not a single person gives a flying fuck about that bullshit with Craig. Right? We might pass this screen. We've scrolled past 100 times to get to his thing on a free fucking game. By the way, 10,000 players for a free game, right? Pretty good, right? It's not a free to play game, it's a free game. So it doesn't make money. You're not making money with this game. She's not making money with this game. So negative reviews don't do anything. And if you bring it up on Steam and itch, you'll get laughed at by the fans of the game. So you really don't have any ground to stand on here, right? This is the point she was trying to make. You guys are clowned, and I don't want anything from you because your word is poison. Right? And we've seen that with Kingdom Come Deliverance as well. Their word is poison because they aren't genuine players anymore, right? And you can tell that they aren't genuine players because of how long it takes. Unless the game is already notoriously bad, like Dragon Age Veilguard, for example, people aren't caring about politics enough to give a shit here, right? We've got thousands of players who have reviewed the game positively. We've got a couple dozen who have reviewed the game negatively. And of that, right, the ones that are politically motivated and don't talk about the game at all, like if they talk about the game, they aren't clowned on. That's another thing. If they talk about the game and the politics, they aren't clowned on as much. It's only the ones, like there's like about 6, right? And only the ones, also 6 as a review bomb is the hilarious bit about that, right? But only about 6 reviews are clowned on, but that's because there's 6 reviews that talk about politics and nothing else. And every single one of them is a negative review talking about the wine up from Craig. It's a very pathetic attempt at a review bomb, and it's very obvious. It's also very tiny and insignificant in the grand scheme, of course, as well. But that's beside the point. The point isn't really like the size. The point is like, okay, right? And like this is the thing: the review bomb starts when the negative reviews get political and not like about the game. That's another thing, right? Like I'm not like a Metacritic like games journalist. I'm talking about like analytically. If we're going to like politics negatively impacting the game of the dev, negatively impacting the game for people, we have to we have to get to people being political with their review, right? So we have to get to one where they're political, and a good like way to filter that is it made after January 30th, 26, right? So it takes a while to do it, and yeah, even people reviewing it positively are dunking on it, but they're also reviewing the game. So that's the thing. The review bomb. There's no positive review bomb, but there are positive reviews that kind of like dunk on the whole politics aspect of it. And like there are positive review bombs. It's just not in this game, right? And like a review bomb, by the way, is when you talk about something that isn't the game in your review, right? Like as in it has nothing to do with the game itself in the review, right? It's just purely political. So like that's another thing. Like I am talking about like a very smidgen of reviews too, right? And it gets down to here. I've surpassed like at least 100, maybe 150 to get to this review. That's how bad like this aspect is for Craig. When it's a legitimately good game, people don't care. That's the thing. People don't care about your politics at all. You can be whatever whiny as much as you want. People don't care if they're hated on, is another good way to say it, right? People don't care if the devs hate them. They care if the game is good, right? Like, I mean, like, are we going to really consider like the devs from China at like who make Honkai Star Rail and shit love America? They don't. They fucking hate America. That's their thing. They're trying to conquer our industry by funding like our side to like have bullshit and make bad games, and then also like a political like inversion on YouTube and social media to demonize groups of populations and stuff, right? To make us easier to take over by dividing us against each other and stuff, right? So really, like she's recognizing you as the commie snakes you are, or at least commie like motivated snakes, you know. And that's the thing. Like, so like, and like the second review, right? So the first one was like 20 pages in. Like this might be it. I'm not counting this. This at least says the game is garbage. So sure, right? Whatever, right? So yeah, another one, right? It takes this long to get to a second one. And they had fun with it, which is the funniest bit. And they're getting clowned on. Entitled and very creepy. Dev reflects on the game. I didn't spend any money. Still feels scammed. You have 4.5 hours in the last 2 weeks. You had fun. The game is like 5 hours long. You are just you are just being a retard. And so that's the thing. People are getting like that, you know? Like, it's the thing. Like, okay, this person talked about the game. Now, some people say skill issue and stuff, and all that, right? But yeah, like, see, this is funny, right? But like, that's the thing, right? Like, people don't legit care if you don't like the game. They care if you don't like if you negatively review for not the game, right? And that's another thing, right? Review bombs are like this is where the review bomb comes, like bombing, right? It's very small and minuscule, right? Like very tiny. And even then it's like, like you have to go a while and it's all like people are dunking on them, no one's really caring about it and stuff, right? So that's a thing, right? Like helpful, like people might say, oh, it's helpful, but then they're clowned on and laughing at it. The point of it like with this is helpful is they're talking about, hey, it's helpful to know that this reviewer is a political spurg. Like that's what they mean with helpful on that one. They a few things about like Steam reviews. These don't necessarily mean what you think it does, right? Comments on the reviews mean more. And the reason for this, okay, this 48, do they find it helpful that the review, or do they find it help for the game, or do they find it helpful that they now notice this guy is a political spurg, right? And when the game is good and they're even saying it's good and giving a negative review, that's how, and then bitching about politics, that's how you know it's a political spurg, right? Right, like like a lot of the negative reviews are this far down in like people liking them, right? And we're going by helpfulness, right? By people who actually found it helpful for legitimate reasons. Most of the reviews are positive until you get to like this last page, and then most of the reviews are still reviews, right, about like the game itself. And then like the political reviews, most of them are positive, right, if they do political stuff at all. And the ones that are negative are, just not working. And look how long it is to get to the top, right? Like we went through like hundreds of pages basically in that past few seconds. So yeah, that this is why like review bombs on a good game are more obvious than on a bad game, right? On a bad game, like on Dragon Age, like the Veilguard, there'll be negative reviews about the game. I know, like there'll be negative reviews about the game on an actual bad game that where like people actually don't like the game, right? And aren't just spurging politics, right? Like people don't care if you spurg politics at all, right? That's the thing. Like Craig's like, oh, we do. No, you don't. If you did, why does no one care in the reviews? Like people are downloading the game to spurg on it, and then they're getting shit on, and then no one else is worried, right? And the reason why is because no one fucking cares, you dumbass. Like, why would they care? If you actually had a value, like if they like were just spurging on someone on Twitter, right? Twitter is just spurg land, by the way. Like everyone is politically spurging there. If you're making porn or you're politically spurging, right? And so Craig, you don't make porn, so what do? You're a political spur, right? You spurg autistic nonsense to people. We get that, right? But you can't get mad at someone else for spurging political nonsense if that's your job, right? And you're on Twitter and you're not making porn, you're spurging political nonsense. So here's how we deal with that, right? Either you become a furry porn artist, it's one alley we can go, or a lolicon or whatever, porn artist. It's one way you can go, right? That's fair. That's balanced. That's fair, right? Or you're just spurging and just admit it, and it's okay for the dev to spurg at you because you spurged at them because that's what you do for a living. Any message you ever do is political spurging, right? There are two types of Twitter users that aren't brands. You aren't a brand, you are a person. So you type on Twitter, it's political spurging. You put a video on Twitter, it's political spurging. Anything you do is political spurging. That's how it's seen by normal men. We're talking about normal men. You aren't normal men. You use Twitter for a living and think it's a real place that has legitimate value. You are not a normal man, Craig. You cannot be a normal man and think anything on Twitter that isn't porn is valuable. So you think something on Twitter that isn't porn is a valuable thing. You're a fucking psycho, and people recognize that. Okay, we get it. We get it. You're a fucking psychotic, mentally ill loser. But you can't get mad at someone else for being a psychotic, mentally ill loser if that's what you are, right? You are basically calling the kettle black here, Craig. Now, it's fine, like they both are, right? But you are saying it's bad for them. Rule for thee, not for me with you, Craig, right? And this is what real gamers are saying to that. Dog, what the fuck's wrong with you, right? And everyone is talking about how mentally ill the negative reviewers are. No one's talking about the mental wellness of the developer here that isn't like being clowned on, because that's the point, right? People don't care about that. They care, is product good? Okay? That's all you're going to get, right? It's the same like Asmongold said with Pal World. Is product good? Well, product good, people like it, right? People don't care about like the, copyright infringement, design infringement or whatever, right? People don't give a shit about that. People only care, is the game good? Game good? People don't give a shit. And that's the issue you're dealing with, Craig. You're talking about political spurging, but they don't care that you're politically spurging. I mean, but that the dev is politically spurging, because you also are. So if you're politically spurging and they're politically spurging, normal men, what they see is two political spurgs having a spurg off, and you get some popcorn together, and that's it, right? So that's what normal men are doing, right? People who are on her side are reviewing the game positively for that. People who are seeing the spurg off are reviewing it positively because they don't care. And people who are on your side are a vocal minority that is very easily taken down once you get off Twitter. So notice that, right? Like, you are the vocal minority that refuses to shut up, but also no one cares about your opinion once you get off your little echo chambers, right? The only time you ever actually get actual help with stuff is when your opinions line up with normal people, right? But when they line up with normal people don't review, is this game gay? They review, is this game bad? Is this game good? Am I having fun yet, right? Is the thing they review. So, am I having fun yet? Yes. That's ultimately the only politics people care about. So yeah, Craig, you proved that you lost. Congratulations. I hope your 1,000, less than 1,000 review show, might grow, to actually be like something that people see legitimacy in. But I doubt it will for a while, right? Like, you're just reviewing like a couple things from Dave and Buster's, and getting your friends together. The thing is, people wouldn't care if that's what you were talking about too, by the way. Like, people love AVGN, right? People love, the developers and stuff of a lot of these games and stuff, right? The only person people really don't like right now, really, is Razorfist, to be honest. But that's another thing, right? People don't care about political spurgs once you leave the echo chamber. You have to have Elon Musk personally boost your tweets to get anyone to like them. And you think that boost means your opinions are worth something. In reality, they don't, right? Like, a left-wing person doesn't have to do that all the time, right? Like, there are left-wing people who get more out of Twitter, right? Hating Elon Musk, right? It doesn't matter what echo chamber it is, right? Because it's not just an echo chamber. He's just a bad person, right? in like many people's eyes, right? And a lot of that starts with like what most people's first impression of him was, right? Like people might think, oh, like the Roman salute, the Nazi salute. Yeah, like that's not why people have that opinion of him. It goes back way back, right? You want to know like why people have an opinion of that of him? I can show you. It's like it was like a while ago. I know exactly why people don't fucking trust him, and it goes back like before even the Trump presidency. Elon Musk, firefighter. No, not firefighter. Oh yeah, it was a firefighter. Child rescue, right? Right. This is why people don't like Elon Musk. Right. Oh no, this is not the cave, right? It was cave. Cave, right? So, like the videos on here are 6 years old, but it's longer than that, right? Like this is longer than that ago, but like this is what people are talking about. People hate Elon Musk for this. It wasn't a firefighter; it was a diver. That's actually true. I got the thing wrong, but like this is what it was. I'm not gonna lie.
Switching to Mint Mobile, was it life changing? No.
Yeah,
was
sure,
it smart?
Whatever.
Yes. Not on my parents.
A British diver who played a key role in the rescue effort of that Thai soccer team trapped in a dark cave for weeks is back in the headlines. He's considering legal action against Elon Musk over comments the billionaire made on Twitter. Megan is here with that. So, Megan, there has been...
this is like a while ago. This is what people's first impression of Elon Musk was, by the way. People didn't hear about him before this, so people remembered this, right? That he called a British person who rescued kids who were drowning and dying in a thing, a pedophile, because he was jealous that he saved them instead of letting him use his like weird device that he wanted to make. Because if he let everyone wait until he made it, the kids would have died. So the diver was like, nah, I'm just going to do it myself. Fuck you. And that's why he called him a pedophile. And people remember that. That's their first impression of Elon Musk, of the vast majority of people, is that Elon Musk would rather children drown than be seen as not cool. Or like less cool than a random diver, right? This is their first impression of Elon Musk, and that Elon Musk will go to the lengths of accusing the person of being a pedophile, right? That's their first fucking impression of Elon Musk. That's why people don't value him. It doesn't matter how much money he has. That's what people think, right? People don't think, oh, he made Twitter more free. They think hey, the guy who called a hero a pedophile for no reason is talking again. Let's laugh at his nonsense. Ha 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 ha. Pedophile. The guy who drops pedophile accusations at people because they do something good is talking again. Ha 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 ha. That's what every reasonable person who's not terminally online thinks of Elon Musk. Because most of the people, that's their only impression, because they shut him out permanently after that. And why wouldn't they? Like, this is what people actually care about, right, with Elon Musk. And, like, let me actually, so. Elon Musk, what was it? Thai cave rescue. Let's look how long it was, right? It's it was more than 6 years ago, I'm pretty sure. Wasn't this during Obama's presidency? What the fuck? Was it during Trump's presidency? I'm pretty sure it was during Obama's. Oh man. Let's see. It's filter upload date, right? And then okay, is there a way to sort? No. I can't sort by relevancy down. Maybe it's only 6 years ago. Okay, maybe it was during Trump's presidency. But anyway, that was everyone this is their first thing they heard about the asshole. is that he did that. And that's the majority of people, that's their first thing. And you know what? It's also the only thing, because when that's the first thing they hear about someone, they shut that person out, right? And that's what happened with Craig, right? The thing is, right, because that's the first thing that her and her friends hear of you, is that you make like you let like pedophiles like razor fist on the show. Because of that, they don't want to hear from you ever, right? You are not going to get through people like that because that's what they think of you, right? So trying to is ultimately pointless, right? You're not going to get to the people because you are known as the guy who hires anti-woke pedophiles on your show to bitch about games, right? And like that's the thing. You are known as the guy who simps for a guy of crybaby who accuses people of pedophilia for doing things that are cooler than them, right? It was 6 years ago. Okay, either way, this was most people's first impression with Elon Musk. You're known as the guy, who most people see is a person who's regularly harassing devs. You're known as the guy who platformed Mark Kern, a guy who stole from his now ex-fans, hundreds of thousands of dollars openly and millions privately or like other methods. And that's what you're known as. You're known as that guy. And this is what I told you. Remember, I'm the one who said you need to vet your guests. That's why. Because eventually this is what's going to happen. Your movement's going to fall because it's starting to rhyme again, right? History rhymes a lot, right? The Gamergate 1 failed because of this exact reason. You guys don't want to listen to me and then you prove me right, right? Like, you not listening to me is what proved me right, Craig. So congratulations, Gamergate 2 fell because of you. So thank you for proving me right. I wish you would have proved me wrong, but you didn't, because I'm not wrong about these things. I see patterns in history, and I observe them, and I acknowledge that they exist. Right? These patterns are going to keep happening until you guys realize to use your fucking brains. And maybe if you don't want to use yours, listen to someone who actually experienced it before. Because I was there before any of you, right? I was there in the original gate. Because the original gate wasn't Gamergate. The original gate, right? The original gate was Creationist Gate, right? The original gate was a lot of fake Christian scam artists like Ray Comfort and was it Kirk Cameron. Renowned scam artists who sell people like all this bullshit, right? That doesn't actually do anything, while pretending like, oh, we just want to convert people to Christ, and then their entire movement is actually a political movement to make people dumb and subservient to the United States government, right? And the part of it was to make people not understand biology. By preaching creationism, right? Creationism is ultimately you don't understand biology movement, right? And then we had the SJW gate. Before Gamergate, there actually was the initial SJW gate, right? And that one basically was atheism plus, right? See, you guys don't know how long I've been studying because you weren't even there for the first 2 bits. Most of you don't even know what I'm talking about. Most of you don't know who Thunderfoot was. Most of you don't remember most of you don't even know who Ray Comfort is, right? You guys will occasionally have Kirk Cameron, Crocoduck Boy on your fucking things, right? That guy is a laughing stock to anyone who's been online, right? Like this is a thing, right? If you review this guy positively, it's automatically a red flag. Crocodile boy. Crocodile boy, right? This is 13 years ago, right? 16 years ago, actually, right? It's all original YouTube videos. This was the original culture war. Was atheism versus not really atheism. There were plenty of biologists to. Let me see if I can. Kenneth Miller, right? So the original thing was actually like Catholics versus young Earth creationists. Like, this is the funny thing. It didn't even start with atheists. It started with Catholics versus like Catholic scientists who know what the fuck they're talking about versus fundamentalist Christians who wanted to remove biology from people's textbooks, right? And this is the thing, like, this was actually legit the original culture war, right? People who believed in God that also believed in the scientific method and improving society and stuff, right? Versus snake oil salesmen that wanted everyone to be dumber and more subservient to the government. And they wanted to pretend that doing so would lead people to Christ. And this side has been a constant the entire time, both on the insane things from the left and right, right? This has been a very centrist thing, right? And this is the original one. It's the only one that's still going, right? But the thing is, right, this side won every single time. Right? But the thing is, this isn't like a centrist as in like Dev, like it doesn't take a side. No, this took a firm side, right? It took a firm side. It's also the firm side that won each time, though, right? Because it's the principled side, right? Not the centrist side of Dev, but the centrist side of stick to your principles. As in, if the far left and the far right disagree, that doesn't mean like, oh, like not disagreeing with each other, like both of them, it makes you better, right? That's what Dev believes, right? That's Dev's like philosophy, which is dumb, right? The real principle is, right, believe what you actually believe yourself and have your own principles. And that's what Kenneth Miller was, right? So, right, like he's the actually study things and figure shit out and actually learn what things actually fucking are guy. Also, this is another thing. Like, they actually explained, like, things like this, right? So chimps still evolve into humans. Well, the thing is, yeah, they talk about like the misunderstandings people have of evolution. And this is another thing. This was headed by biologists and history professors and archaeologists and stuff. Actual scientists, right? Like Thunderfoot is a chemist, right? Thunderfoot is a chemist. Richard Dawkins is a evolutionary biologist. Kenneth Miller is another biologist, right? Who is also friends with I forget the guy's name, but the guy who is on the Human Genome Project, who also, by the way, is Catholic, just so you know. And this is the thing, right? It's not people leading you against God. It's versus people leading you towards Him. It's people leading you towards science versus people leading you towards subservience to government, right? And anytime people are like, obey authority, it always is bad, right? The problem with Gamergate is you side on political tribalism rather than principle. And that's why you fail every time. Instead of like alliances on principles, you have alliances on political bullshit. And because of that, you fail every time. You need to make sure it's the principles, the morals that you hold, right, are the same. And that's why it's failed both times. It's failed. Like Gamergate 2 is over. It's done with. And the reason it's done with is because of this shit. You don't have unity because instead of relying on principles, you rely on tribalism, right? Oh, if you're not in the left tribe, you must be on my tribe, right? And that's not okay. Because it leads to shit like Matt Walsh, who's a right-wing guy, right? And Dev, who's a left-wing guy, who are known snakes, snaking it up, right? It's very easy to see because you're not standing on principles. You're standing on nothing. If you have no foundation, you will eventually fall every single time. It's in the Bible, right? I'm not talking about like, far right, like fundamentalists. That's not what I talk about when I talk about Christianity. I talk about like actual, like leading people to Christ through helping and helping people in need when you can, right? And it doesn't even necessarily mean like directly. You can indirectly help someone by, like, if someone's in trouble, calling the police is an indirect help, right? And that's the thing, right? If it's indirect help, it's still help, right? Just like, if you're like a mile away and you hear something on the phone, like call with your wife, right? If you can't physically protect her, right? Calling the police is still helping her, right? It might not help her in the long run stay alive because, depending on what it is, it might be over and done with by the time they get there, but it might not. But you can't get there. You can't help her. So you want her to get help. So you call 911 and then make sure and like give her instructions on like how to like hide and stuff. Then call 911. Try to get that situation curbed, right? That's still a Christian response. But Christian response is if you see someone in danger, you try to help them in some form of manner, right? That means if someone threatens your family, it might involve you shooting them to death, right? That's not that like Christianity isn't anti-violence. It is, however, pro helping others, right? And family, of course, is one of those others that you help. But ultimately, like the bond of Christianity is helping others, right? You help others so they feel helped, and now that help that you gave them that drives them to help others as well because you told them like you get the idea, right? And so like it becomes like helping others becomes contagious. This is, by the way, how Christians survived during the Roman genocide of Christians and Jews, known as the Fires of Rome. Yeah. The Fires of Rome, also known as the Beast Inferno. That's a history lesson here. The reason why the number 666 is used for the Beast refers to Nero Caesar's nickname, the Beast, during the Fires of Rome. And 666 is his name in Greek, translated to Hebrew isosophes. And like you might have heard the number 616 as well. That's because if you take off the N, because the Greek spelling is NRONQSR, right? So for Nero and Kaiser, right? But the Hebrew spelling directly is NROQSR. So people who use the Greek because it was written in Greek got 666, and people who translated it directly into Hebrew got 616. This is important because you notice it's Nero Caesar, right? Nero Caesar is the guy who was killing them during the time Revelation was written. It refers to a genocide against Christians, right? And because of the nickname they gave him, they used the human number 666 or 616, right? The human number, by the way, means it refers to a person. That's actually what it means, right? And it refers to a person who's using government authority to kill people, right? And that's what Nero Caesar was. He was the beast. He was the person setting people ablaze, like fire, hellfire. He was sending people to hell, basically, is what he was doing, right? He heard their rumors of hell, so he was like, okay, I'll send you there myself, right? And the thing is, because Christians unified, both with this and with each other, like they kept protecting each other, so we tried to burn their towns down, right? And then when they burned their towns down, another town by helped them out. And it kept growing and growing. Nero Caesar could not stop this because they were unified in the ability to help each other, not in violence against their enemies, but in helping each other. They became an unstoppable force of camaraderie that no matter what he tried to do, he could not get rid of because it became so contagious, even Roman government officials wanted to stop. That's the weapon of Christianity. Christianity is weaponized kindness in the most effective way. And that is why, like, people like who snake Christianity as like, we need to reject evolution or we need to call people slurs and shit is incredibly vile, right? That's not what Christianity is about. It's about helping people. Ultimately, that's what it's about. Helping people get to Christ, helping people feel like Christ is worth getting to in the first place. And that's the Christ every single one on the anti-woke side rejects. It doesn't matter why they're anti-woke, that's what they reject. Now, not everyone on the woke side supports it either, because here's the thing. Wokeness, really, as a concept, is okay. But wokeness as a fund, right? Because here's the thing, like a lot of the wokeness became a fund, right? The same with like DEI. On principle, diversity, equity, and inclusion are good ideas. In practice, they are a fund, right? This is where like it's bad. When it's a government fund, right? It's not that DEI is bad, it's that it's a government plan, right? Like you get the idea, right? Black Lives Matter is not bad, but BLM groups that are communist outsiders that just want another mansion are bad, right? You get the idea, right? Like we're starting to like see the picture. The ideas aren't bad. The people who organize events behind them are bad, right? Now it's not like communism, by the way. Communism is not unity. It's communism is actually very much very much government enforced unity, right? You need individual enforced unity, as in you need to do it yourself, right? So like this is the thing, like governments aren't supposed to protect you, you are supposed to protect you, right? And I think like most people get that, even on like the anti-woke side, but like they don't get is that like stuff like with what's happening with Donald Trump, right? Notice how you won't abolish SAVE, which is like the actual problem with a lot of like reason why a lot of illegal people are immigrants in the first, or a lot of immigrants are illegal in the first place, is because SAVE like is a fucking joke. SAVE, by the way, the purpose of SAVE is supposed to be like a final check on people who come here with visas. The problem is that SAVE doesn't want to do their job. So in order to be here legally, even after you get all the papers and visas and stuff, have your interview, all that, you have a visa that's not legal, right? That's not here legally. You're here. You have to be here to do SAVE, right? That's the other thing. SAVE is like you're already here when you do it. So you're already here. You just need them to acknowledge that you have the paperwork and that you've been scanned in. They will refuse every single fucking time because they don't want to do their jobs. Critical has talked about this, right? And people don't want to like acknowledge that this is the actual issue, but it is. SAVE is the issue with illegal immigration, because most of it is legitimately if you abolish SAVE as like a final check or make them do their jobs at the very least. You immediately, everyone who's actually like legitimate citizens is immediately, legalized. And only the people who are criminals tend to like will still be illegal. Right? So now, I mean, the problem is solved. We just know, okay, these guys are terrorists and these guys are just here, because like they have family here and stuff, right? So there we go. Right? Abolish SAVE or make them do their job, and instantly, every illegal immigrant who is not harming the country is legal. Because that's what's actually preventing a large amount of illegal immigrants from being legal, is that program. By the way, Elon Musk is an illegal immigrant. Did you know that? Like, Elon Musk is on a temporary college visa that he didn't use. He's actually an illegal immigrant. People don't realize that, but when you get a visa, you also have to do certain things. Usually it's a job or college, right? Elon Musk did not do that. That actually makes him an illegal immigrant, right? Like he's permanently, like he didn't do the thing on his visa. And that's another thing, right? When you're here on a visa, you have to do what it says. Right? There's marriage visas, there's work visas, and there's and the last thing there is so like work visas, marriage visas, and school visas, right? Elon Musk was on here on a school visa, but he didn't go to the class, which means his visa was expired. Yeah, he's not here legally. Funnily enough, this is a thing like with the right. A lot of them champion shit that they don't believe in. Like, did you know that Ted Cruz is running for president is illegal? He's not from the United States. Him running is actually unconstitutional. Right? Another one was like Marco Rubio, I think, is another one, right? If you're not born on U.S. soil, running for president is factually against the Constitution of the United States. Right? Another one, like Elon Musk. If Elon Musk ran for president, he would be breaking the Constitution just by running. But like a lot of the right doesn't care because they aren't like the right on politics these days isn't about principles. They're about just money allows you to break the law. That's all it is, right? Money allows you to break the law to get power so you can continue to break the law, but then you also punish people for breaking the laws that you broke to get there. It's known as ladder pushing. Yeah, it's not good people in charge, and they're all insanely evil. But it's not like Trump is the only side. Like Democrats are obviously like far more guilty of that. Trump is like a niche of Republicans, right? Whereas like Democrats is like almost the entire fucking party. But that's the thing, right? When you don't have principles, that's how like things happen, right? Democrats didn't have principles, so all their programs failed. And then Republicans did not have principles. They slowly drifted away from them. And that's how like we get like everyone in government is either a fucking pedophile or criminal. Every single one now. Like Donald Trump is a pedophile. Joe Biden was a pedophile, right? Fucking Obama like is a fucking massive criminal. We got so many people in Congress and everything that have molested kids as well. There's even one who was actually convicted of during Trump's first presidency, he was convicted of molesting a child, and still won the race and said, "Hey, what if like people vote to have me free?" I'm not joking. That's what happened. This is the fucking disgusting shit about like what happened. For a lot of things, like there are legitimate pedophiles in the top echelons of government all over the place in both parties, right? Including the president of the United States right now, and also Elon Musk. What was that shit he did with like his own kid, right? Like people talk about like him being a baby ferret, which is also true, but like that's not really what I'm getting at. Like he role played sexually as his own child. Right? Like people are talking about him being a Nazi. What about him being a pedophile, right? And no one talks about that. It's the same with like Matt Walsh. They're like, oh, he reviewed games bad. Yeah, but he also like advocated for a lower age of consent. When are we going to talk about that? Like, when are we going to talk about that? When are we going to talk about that? Right? When are we going to talk about that, Craig? Like, this is the thing. They don't want to talk about certain things that are actually bad, which proves they don't have principles. They're like, oh, he attacked gamers. He's also a pedophile, though. Like, why aren't we talking about that, too, right? Like, why aren't we talking about the actual bad shit people are doing and only like, this mid shit, right? They're like, oh, we'll keep it at gaming. But then when you keep it in gaming with other, like, people like against the woke, I mean, people on the like left side, I guess, you'll talk about like actual like really bad things, but then the people on the other side are also doing those things or worse or whatever, and you never talk about those things. You only talk about like them if it's a minor criticism, and this is like the issue, right? It's basically like what happened like with the Catholic Church and pedophilia, right? It blew up in their face. Not because like a large percentage of them even were pedophiles, but because they had the scandal with the pedophilia in Catholic Church. Like, here's the thing, right? They basically, if a pastor or priest was a pedophile, they would excommunicate him from that church and put him in another one, which meant that they would basically have like a slew of pedophiles going to different churches. And And so, like, when there was a 90-year-old priest who was murdered by one of his victims, whose father was also molested by the same man, that, you know, the same 90-year-old person he murdered molested him, and he molested his father when he was a child too. That's how bad it basically was. And he was starting to talk about molesting another kid, like in a confession or something, I think, right? So the kid, like the first victim, like the one victim, murdered him, right? And then what was the headlines? We should do what the church policy says, instead of the government policy. Let him out to murder someone. Let him out to do it, and send him to another church to do it again. Right? Why was that the point? Because that's what the Catholic Church was doing. Right? It wasn't like Catholics that were a problem. Like, this guy was never a problem, but there were churches that were doing that, and they do. It's not just Catholic. Like Ted Haggard isn't Catholic, but that was like a thing with him, right? He got caught raping kids, and then like he went to another church, and it's like a constant with him, and that's like a constant with a lot of like pastor pedophiles, is they will get caught and then like move to another church and do it again. And this is like the right side's bullshit, right? The left side, they go to jail and that's it usually, unless it's like Hollywood. Like Dan Schneider and stuff, right? But then a lot of them grift to the right to avoid it as well, right? You have, it's like, what is it? Kevin Spacey? Yeah. Victor Salva, I think, has started doing it as well. Hey, Craig, when's Dan Schneider going to be on your show grifting to you? About the woke people, right? Right, yeah. Are you gonna let that happen, right? Because that's what it's seeming like. You got Razor Fist doing it, so maybe you'll let it happen more, right? But I feel like that's the thing. You guys don't give a shit about pedophilia. You make it abundantly clear, but you want to pretend you do. The only way you pretend you effectively do is to get rid of the pedophiles on your side. Get rid of the log in your eye before you bitch about the speck in someone else's. That's how it works, right? If you want to have a principle, keep it, have it, enforce it. But if you don't, it'll always bite you in the ass. And that's what's happening here, Craig. Your ass is getting bit by your own failures. And that's what's happening.